Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I am Mike Byrne, aka magicman, and this is episode 334, recording on 4/3, and you're watching it on 4/3, or that's a lot of threes and fours, April 3rd. We've got a bunch of duos of news. That's the way I did things today. I paired everything up into two news pieces. Kind of related here. So we'll work our way through it, then we'll get to your bombs, your feedback, and your answers to the question of the week last week. Joining me to go through this, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir? Oh, nasty. I don't believe you just did that. You sick puppy, you. Oh, thank God your camera all of a sudden decided to robot out a little bit here, because that is gross. Also on the line, not licking Oreo cookies, Miss Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
I'm just ignoring Jason.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I'm doing.
That's probably the best thing to do. Probably the best course of action is to ignore Jason. Ah. Gross. On that, let's slide over and get started with the news. All right, in our first duo of news, we're going to talk about things that probably will have global-ish releases. One of them we know will have some type of global release. The other one might not. And take notes, because we'll be coming back to this one for our question of the week. So first up, Blue Protocol, the anime-esque MMORPG by Bandai Namco. They're going to be doing a closed beta in Japan. So only in Japan right now. It's kind of a weekend thing, too. It's April 23rd and then ending on April 26th. But they did release, Q, some more details about, like, the plan going forward. And I know a lot of people, particularly in the West, are looking for this one because initially Bandai Namco had no plans to bring it to the West, then plans to bring it to the West, and we still don't exactly know when it will be here and in what form it will be here, but they did kind of release a roadmap here.
Yeah, most of the roadmap actually that they dropped was just totally centered around this test, like when what they're referring to as application results, which I'm assuming is your invite, will be sent out, which was a couple of days ago on March 30th, and then between then and April 6th, they'll give you friends invitations. And then and then on April 20th, anybody who has been accepted, and I guess any of their friends that they invited, can go ahead and download the game and get it all, set up so that they can just roll right into the game, during when beta starts on April 23rd. That's pretty much the roadmap. As far as like anything out from that,
it does supply dates, though, Jason, and this is funny. So we normally use Skype for this show. We switched, finally, to Discord for not just this show, but for our internal communications, too. We actually will be opening up an MMO Bomb Discord soon. We'll give you more information about that when we come. But I think it's awesome that right now, like, the two of you keep, like, trading who's a little pixelated. So that's got to be a Discord thing, not your cameras.
Discord is like super busy right now. So
I mean,
they keep adding and adding stuff.
Little bit. Jason, are you interested in this one at all? I mean, it's right up my alley. Although I'm not a huge anime person in general. I mean, I have my favorites, but they're very small, few. Not watching Toonami every weekend or anything like that. But this one kind of falls in the vein of a Phantasy Star Online-esque for me, so I am kind of eager to see it on that front. What about you?
First of all, because I like these weird trivia bits like this is probably the longest I've gone into a cast without saying a word.
It definitely is. It definitely is. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Although, like, you didn't say words, but you made disgusting licking sounds.
So, I'm not really interested in it. I look at it, I see some graphics, I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Then the other thing I think about is Bandai Namco. What else have they done? So I look at Bandai. I do search for Bandai Namco on our
Right.
site. Here are the recent articles I see, or not even recent, but like down the list here. Bandai Namco Inc.'s deal to publish Duelist, and Duelist shut down a month ago. Bandai Namco announced a new game for golf fans. We know what that is.
Do we?
Winning Putt.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That also shut down.
Yeah.
Bandai Namco is shuttering Rise of Incarnates December 15th. Bandai Namco shows off new free-to-play Gundam game. I don't know what that is. Bandai Namco announces Supernova, a futuristic MOBA. Bandai Namco gets into the tank game with Battleline Steel Warfare. Have they ever done anything
Okay.
relevant to us?
Counterpoint to the free-to-play site, not necessarily.
No, I get they've done a
Point
lot of
conceded.
other games and so forth.
Right,
But
because
online games?
in this kind of genre, I look more towards their work with like the Sword Art Online series, the Tales series, particularly of like Tales of Berseria, stuff like that. Obviously, they've done Code Vein and the whole Dark Souls stuff, but in this like anime RPG-ish environment, they do have very successful single-player items in the Sword Art franchise and in the Tales franchise. So, and I love Code Vein, by the way. A little shallow game, but I love that game just because I like
Bless Unleashed.
vampires.
They're doing Bless Unleashed, which seems to be at least somewhat relevant, but
Yeah, I swear to God, people, I'm gonna get to that first look. It is one. So I don't have my consoles like directly hooked up. So like when I did the Phantasy Star Online 2 first look, which is going gangbusters right now. Thank you all. Watch it. Take a peek at it. I have to like migrate my Xbox over here, hook it all up, and do everything. And so for Phantasy Star Online, I was like, yeah, no problem. Let's do it. I'm like less motivated to actually do it for Bless Online because I got to rearrange all this and play on the TV behind me, and it's not conducive. When I did my whole setup, I wasn't anticipating consoles being involved in a lot. So yeah, it's not.
Maybe
exactly.
it's time to permanently rearrange everything.
It might be. It might be. I mean, I do have 5 months of furlough from my day job now
There
due
you
to
go.
the coronavirus stuff. So it might be time to rearrange here and get at least one, because I have the PlayStation 4 behind me, and that's hooked up to that TV. I have the Xbox One over here, one of them on the theater, so that could come over here to play on the TV. But I mounted the TV behind me and put my monitors here. So it's not really conducive to streaming because your view of me would be this.
that's what you prefer.
Touche. But maybe it is time to like slide all these monitors back onto that one, because the backdrops there would be fine. It's bookshelves with collectibles on it and things like that. So it'd be an all right camera shot. But yeah, I swear to God, I'm going to get to it. And Bless Unleashed is being okay received. Yeah, much better than Bless Online was, Jason.
But overall, I have a less than optimistic view of Bandai Namco's ability to make an MMO type game that's going to last for any amount.
I don't know. We'll see. Q, I mean, I think you're more anime out of you're not huge anime, but you're more anime than out of the three of us.
You don't know me, do you?
I know you dabble in some, but we don't talk about like every single thing you watch. So I know you watch some of the ones I'm familiar with, but have never watched.
Let me see. I have 147 anime series sitting on a hard drive.
Okay, that is a lot more than I would have expected.
And that's just the series. The movies are... Come on, load. 232.
Okay, so you have to be interested in this one, right?
Yeah.
This is definitely one you're watching. You'll come play with me when we're able to jump in here.
Provided I'm able to do it, yes.
Oh, I think you got time.
That people got shit to, right.
Yeah, I mean, you got time.
And provided it actually, does everything and lives long enough for us to do it.
Yeah, comes west in a full fashion. So definitely one I'm watching. The other one, Q and I are both watching and have been, but Jason, again, less than interested in.
I've been interested in this.
You've been like lukewarm interested
Oh,
in
sure,
this.
sure.
You're like, I remember distinctly talking about this game before, and you said it feels like one of those games that is focused on doing so many different things that it doesn't really do any of them very well. But it did get a new name. We're talking about Ascent Infinite Realm, formerly known as Air. That is now rebranded as Elyon? Elyon? E-L-Y-O-N. Elyon?
In my head, I was pronouncing it Elyon. So
Elyon.
I was going with Elyon, but
Elyon. Elyon.
this is going to be like Ion all over again.
Yeah, it's one of those. Could we please get a community manager to just say the name somewhere, please? Besides, we're going to go into some of the other stuff that they're changing for this one. And this one, we still don't know. Is it going to be free to play? Is it going to come to the West? We don't know those things. So, disclaimer, throw those aside. We're just keeping an eye on it like we do most RPGs or MMOs until we find out whether it's free or not. We're going to go into something else that they're changing too, which I think might help Jason's interest level a little bit. But first off, I hate the name. I don't like the name, Jason. What do you think?
So we got there first of all, mini A-bomb to them doing the usual thing of, we're announcing this, and then 2 days later we'll send out the press release to everybody after you've all reported on it.
Yeah.
Because what the hell? It says here, and the game has officially been renamed to Elyon. This is to better reflect the new focus of the game with the pivot of the core design of the product. The name Elyon is meant to evoke the adventure of exploring a new world. No, it's not. It's what? Why does Ascent Infinite Realm sounds like exploring a new world to me?
It really does.
Elyon doesn't.
When I read that, I was kind of like, would World of Warcraft, like name-wise, be better served if when it came out it was just called Azeroth? And I'm like, no, it probably wouldn't have been. It's Azeroth. Now, granted, they had a previous IP to bank on, and just setting that aside, like, okay, how about this? Final Fantasy, just call it Eorzea.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. Q, are
so-
you in the same boat here?
I hate this name change so much. And the thing about it is, too, well, one, Air is easy to say, right? But two, how long have we been calling it that now? Like, it was already the brand name. Everybody knew what you were talking about.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't do like
knew
a Project K or Project X or anything like that we knew it was just a placeholder. We just assumed this was the name and ran with it.
Like, and yeah, this name sucks. I'm sorry.
I'm not a fan of it. And what's even worse is that it's not like they ditched Ascent Infinite Realm either.
Yeah, it's still sort of there as a subtitle. So it's just to remind you of how good it used to be.
So when you write it, it's going to be Elyon : Ascent : Infinite Realm.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
So is this like sticking with the whole esports now? Do we just call this E-Air? Is that what we do? It was it's just Air, and now it's E-Air. Can we do that? That sounds terrible too. I mean, nothing is good here.
Good.
Actually, it evokes Eeyore, and that's just really depressing.
Well, the game is kind of a donkey right now, so
it really is. And let's go to Jason's point that I know he's made on this cast before, and Q and I have said it too, where we kind of see like, oh, it looks like there's ground combat. Then you have like airship battles that kind of look like Final Fantasy. Then you had this steampunk vibe. Then you had this and this and this and this and this. And Jason has made the point of this looks like it's hitting so many like, there's not an MMO with this in it, and so they threw it in there. And what happens? Do they do any of it well? Well, not only in the rename here, kind of changing the brand, but they've also changed some things in the game to kind of narrow in that focus, which I'm glad they did, but I don't know if there's some certain things that I'm as interested in anymore. For instance, there's not so much as a focus on the aerial fighting anymore, Q, and in the previous trailers we've seen, that looked like a pretty big part of the game, to the point of, like, we're seeing 14, 15 players, flying around a big-ass boss trying to take it down. I hope stuff still like that is in there, but they say that's not as much of the focus anymore as that aerial combat. Kind of disappointed on that front.
Yeah, it is one of the things that they were like really hyping, right? That as well as like the kind of steampunky mech things. Those were the things that they were almost immediately showing off when they first announced the game and everything else. And you were like, okay, so even though there's a very broad focus of the game, this is kind of the focus of the game. And the thing that you thought was the focus of the game is apparently not anymore. So
Jason, maybe getting you a little more interested, it is now shifting to really full-on action combat. So we don't expect to see too much of the tab targeting type style. We don't know if that's more in the vein of Terra or more in the vein of, maybe a Guild Wars 2 kind of hybrid-y. We don't know fully because we haven't had our hands on it yet, but it is sliding exclusively over to the action combat side of things. That's got to be good for you. You like that style.
What? Since when? I hope you're being sarcastic.
Oh, there was sarcasm all over it.
Good. But actually, it's funny you mentioned. It's funny you mentioned Terra because I didn't even realize this. As I'm reading the press release, it says it's by Cacao Games, like
Blue Hole,
and Crafton. It is by Crafton, formerly known as Blue Hole Studio.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
down at the stuff at the bottom, and I'm like, I didn't know they changed their name. But yeah, I mean, it's by the same people who basically made Terra, so it's probably going to have more of that focus to it, which, I mean, that's what you kind of do these days. That's especially for a game from a Korean developer, they're more likely to do the action combat.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, taking away the aerial stuff and making it more like Terra, like they having a crappy name. It's like they said, how can we make Jason Winter dislike this game in every way? He's kind of interested in it. Let's stop that. Let's make sure.
How about this? We've got 5 classes. Okay, Warlord, Elementalist, Mystic, Assassin, and Gunner. Okay, great.
Okay.
We have a basic idea of what those probably do. 4 races. All right, fine. Human, Elf, Orc. Okay, pretty standard. Oh shit, there's a cute little animal race. So let's just scratch that off Jason's list too. Nope.
Yeah.
We are going to be going into a Korean closed beta scheduled right now for the 11th, so 8 days from now. If you've got, your Korean social security number and stuff, maybe you can jump in there and take a peek at the closed beta. There's a supporter pack that gives you a shot at beta, gives you a title and the jetboard vehicle. Again, we don't know if it's coming west, and if it is, when, or even its payment model yet, but definitely one I am still interested in, but I think my interest wanes a little bit off of some of this news until I can see some of it implemented to see if it's, okay, yeah, I can live with that. Q, are you still as interested in this one? You and I have been trending at like a 7 out of 10 interest level, 8 out of 10-ish. I'm probably knocked down now to about a 6 to a 7. Does it do the same for you?
Yeah, I'm just going to have to wait and see what the action combat looks like because I was not a fan of Terra's action combat, like, ever.
Yeah.
So if it's anything like that, I'm just out.
Jason, I think it would be accurate to say you were probably at a 6 to a 7 prior to this, where Q and I were at a 7 to 8. Where are you now?
Probably like a 2 or a 3.
Oh, really? It just crippled your interest.
Yeah, I ain't got time for this.
Oh,
there are other things I could be interested in.
All right, sliding over to our second group of duo news. We've got 2 games that, hey, just all of a sudden, here's fucking news. Boom, have some news. Which is essentially what they did. So Amazon Games, we know that they basically had 3 huge projects they were working on when they started spinning their teams up. We knew about Breakaway, which I got a chance to play. Jason, did you play that with me? I can't remember.
No, I never did.
I got a chance to play. It was mildly interesting. I liked where they were going. That was kind of like the team combat soccer almost. That got axed after some early testing. The whole project was just canceled. Of course, then we have New World, which is kind of a survival-ish MMO RPG. That's coming out in May. You can pre-order it on Steam now. Not free to play, so you'll have to pay, I think it's $39.99 as the basic bundle there. Jason and I saw the trailer that we talked about it on this cast, that they released at the Game Awards, and all of a sudden we're like, damn, everything I've seen on this game, I'm not quite interested. I got a chance to play it, I don't know how, like, I think I'm allowed to talk about this now. It really wasn't for me. I'm just not really big in the survival MMOs, but a lot has changed since then. But the trailer was good. We were like, oh shit, I actually want to try that.
And now that I found it's coming out in May, I've actually been on their website and tried to just read up a few of the things about it. So, yeah, I was kind of unaware. Ever since that trailer, I was basically unaware of its existence.
Yep. Well, that's coming out in May. The third one, though, and you'd be forgiven if you forgot about it, because I did. I totally forgot about it. Jason forgot about it. Q forgot about it because there's been no news on it. All we knew was a name, basically. Way back when, they said Crucible, and they said something about, I think, team combat at that time. And it sounded like a battle royale back then.
Right.
But we really didn't have any details to back that up. It was just, that's the description they gave. That's what it sounded like. Well, yeah, that son of a bitch is not only coming out into testing next month, it is confirmed launching next month. It is free to play, and their new description of it is a sci-fi shooter that borrows elements from battle arena games, things like League of Legends and Dota 2, to give the typical shooter formula more strategic depth. And that was all from basically like one tweet and a little splash of information. Like just all of it. Oh yeah, by the way, this is coming out next month. It's free to play. Here's what it is. Out of nowhere, Jason.
Yeah. There was an interview with the New York Times that a couple of their executives at Amazon Game Studios did, and they described a few things, and including that it's going to come out next month. Now, the launch next month thing was not a direct quote from them. It's what the writer of the article said. So I still kind of wonder if it's like a writer who doesn't really understand how things work and realize it's actually going to be like an early access or public beta or something like that rather than full launch, because it would just seem weird to launch two of your big games within a few weeks of each other in the same month. So
good call.
I think that's maybe a little off, but at least for now, we'll go with what they said. We'll say launch. And yeah, they said that they've been working on it. They've redesigned it many times since its inception in 2014, coming to focus on competitive online play and live streaming on Twitch. And yeah, they said,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just saying they said they've had that Amazon has been good about giving them the resources to keep working on it for so long. Which, in my mind, I'm sort of like, because remember this was announced in 2016, late 2016.
Yeah.
Right around when PUBG was starting to get popular, about a year before Fortnite happened. So it's like the H1Z1 was kind of decent at the time. So really kind of early in the whole, if it is Battle Royale, that's kind of early in that whole period. And now it's just like, I don't know if it's that interesting anymore, the notion of it. They've had to redo it to try and make it not generic like all the other Battle Royales out there.
I was just going to say, when I started chiming in there, I said, that's what actually scares me a little bit about this one, Q. I'm not necessarily all that confident when I hear about any game that's been, since inception in 2014, primary development, following that into 2015, 2016, and then has been redesigned a bunch of times since its inception. That doesn't exactly inspire confidence in me when something is being redesigned. That's not a word that you use loosely. Like, if all they were doing were tweaking features, changing things, adding things, this quite didn't work, let's take this out from beta testing, they would say something more generic, right? Excuse me. Is that you, Rona? It isn't. They would say something more generic, right? They would say, based on feedback, we've been making some changes over and polishing the product, streamlining certain things. To say redesigned, that just reminiscent of WildStar for me. Like when you talked about their development and how things were constantly being redesigned as they went, and a lack of focus, and hopefully they found a focus and then drove directly towards that. But it does make me a little antsy, Q.
Well, I mean, just the description, as written in Jason's article, like when you're reading the first couple of paragraphs, what I get out of it is, we pulled from battle arena games like League and everything. Oh, so it's going to be more like Overwatch, right? Like that kind of thing. And then it's like, oh, but it's 12 people and then there's one man left standing. Okay, so there's your battle. Like, it seems very all over the place in their description, in their current description alone.
Yeah.
So that doesn't like bear well for the future of the game when it's just.
And this one I have no personal experience with, so this is all speculation on my side. Out of the 3 Amazon games, I have not been in this one at all. But back in 2016, they described it as a last one standing third-person shooter, 12 hunters on an alien hostile world, 1 emerges victorious. You could make or break alliances on the fly. This all sounded very, very familiar to Jason and I. And here's my maybe spark of hope is I enjoyed very much, and it's still installed, what this reminded me of, the cycle, right?
Yeah, I like to think that it might be a little like that, although it doesn't really talk about having necessarily a PvE kind of aspect. I guess being in a hostile alien world. But yeah, I am not sure that I'm giving them even that much credit at this point. I guess we'll have to see how it is, because literally when I tried searching for any information, because sure, there was New World stuff that I wasn't aware of, and I could find that. I looked for anything out there on Crucible, and there was really nothing.
No.
I mean, there's just nothing out there.
Nope. We'll have to keep an eye on it to see if there is some type of launch or test or whatever next month. But again, I think it's weird that we don't have
the
pages.
Website done up.
Yeah, we don't even have web pages on Amazon to go look at this stuff. In other. And here you go, have some news. And this game's literally done this twice to everybody. The first time, Riot Games shooter Valorant all of a sudden just poofed into existence one morning. It was like, here's a bunch of information, the name on what it is and how we're doing it and everything. And then all of a sudden, hey, here we go. Closed beta 4 days from now. So if you're looking for Valorant, you're going to get your first chance, we'll talk about that in a second, to jump into closed beta in just 4 days. But I hate the way they're doing beta giveaways here, Q. I don't know if you are a fan of this. This is, at first I was fine with it. As you're reading the directions, they want you to sign onto their account. Okay. They want you to link your Twitch. Okay, a lot of companies are asking you to do that and giving you freebies and stuff. Q writes about them all the time. But the way you get a key after that kind of sucks for me, Q. What's it all about?
Oh, you mean the watching specific streams?
Yep.
Specific Valorant streams thing? Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't spend that much time, or I quit spending time on Twitch a long time ago anyway. I moved to Mixer, but if I'm watching Twitch, I want to watch who I want to watch, not who somebody tells me to watch just to get a key.
Yeah.
and
even
then, with there being
even then it's random.
Right, yeah. And I'm fine with there being stipulations to getting keys they used to do back in the day, where it's well, in order for you to get into beta, you have to, give us your computer information so we can actually see if your machine will run the damn thing. Right? I'm fine with regulations, but this is a weird one, and I just, no.
Yeah, Jason, I don't think you're a fan of this either after you and I talked about it. It's that whole, if they told me, hey, go check out the official Riot stream and, anybody that checks it out in this half-hour block we're going to dump a key on, I think I'd be more okay and more inclined to go do it. But going to bookmark the Twitch page to find relevant streaming opportunities, then go to those streams, watch them, and just randomly have a chance to get a key. I really don't care enough about getting into your closed beta to do that. And I don't know if a lot of people do, even people that are more interested in Valorant than I am. I don't know if that's worth their time.
So I'm even a little ticked off about the whole linking Twitch thing, which is no big deal for me. I have a Twitch account and so on. But the notion that you have to be on Twitch in order to play their game, basically, or to play at least in the beta, that's a little silly too in its own way.
I would have been. I think you're right on that when you're talking about Riot Games. If we were talking about Amazon, then I would kind of get it, right?
Sure.
I mean, that makes sense with the whole buying and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on Riot. I don't mind it. I'm not necessarily a fan of it.
Because even as Q has mentioned, being on Mixer, what if it was you have to have an account on Mixer to get in the beta? And then I'd be like, yeah,
right?
I'm really not.
But fun fact, when I was scanning through all the articles this morning and I saw the whole Twitch page thing and I read the previous one, which was Amazon, my brain was just like, oh, that makes sense. It's Amazon. So, I mean, in that sense, it would make a little bit of sense, but yeah, it's still just not worth it.
Now, for what it's worth, I looked at the Valorant Twitch page just now. I looked at it when we first announced this, and there's nothing there to indicate you can get in beta or whatever. Now, as I look at it, they all say, like, virtually everybody streaming says has like drops in their listing, in their page or whatever. So I just opened up one right now. I'm just kind of watching it, seeing if anything happens. But I haven't. It looks like pretty much everybody can do it. Maybe that's my impression. So maybe it's not quite as hard as we thought it was. But still, the fact that I have to sit here and watch somebody stream to maybe get it, I don't know what that's going to require. So it's still just bad. I hate it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. But if you are, check out the link on mmobomb.com. We'll get you all set up. You can go ahead and get a key or try to get a key and jump into beta in 4 days here. Moving on to the last piece of news before we get started, we've got another pair of the odd kind of news variety. One, let's go to PlanetSide 2 first. So PlanetSide 2 doing really, really well right now. Like, out of nowhere. Their escalation update that was delayed is being very, very well received by PlanetSide 2 players. All of a sudden, their number of players has been spiking over the last month or two. Jason's kind of been fascinated watching it. Not as much as watching H1Z1. I'm sorry. What's it called now? Z1 Battle Royale?
I don't know.
Whatever it's called now.
H1N1 coronavirus. I don't know.
Whatever it's called. That one's like enjoying a resurgence for no reason.
That's actually come back down though a little bit. I've checked that out recently, but yeah.
At least PlanetSide 2 has a pretty fancy new update that dragged a lot of people in. But Jason, they beat their world record, right?
Woo.
They crushed it.
Yeah. Well, so yeah. A few years ago, they organized a thing where they tried to have a big battle, and they had 1,158 people involved, and that was verified by the Guinness Book of World Records. So that's like in their gamer world record thing, which is silly in its own way, but whatever. Supposedly, it was the most players online in a single FPS battle, 1,158 players. Well, over the weekend, last weekend,
1,158 players.
Whatever I said, 1,158, whatever. So over the weekend, they had another battle going on, which apparently had 1,283 players. So, yeah, they broke it, except, well...
They didn't.
Well, I questioned whether they were all involved in the battle, or whether it was just, people, 1,200 people on the server, actually on the one continent on the server. I was like, okay, is it that many people just on the server? Is it that many people actually participating in the battle? Whatever.
Well, even before you get there... You can't just... I can't blow a bubble here and be like, new world record, baby! Got it!
That's the official representative from Guinness to verify things.
They gotta come, they gotta
make
put the controls in place to make sure, I'm not cheating or anything. They watch it, they measure, they verify, they do all that. So you can't just like, hey, Guinness, just to let you know, go ahead and make that 1158, make that 1283 now. So while it is cool to think that, hey, that game's doing well enough that they beat the record from 5 years ago, it isn't technically a new record, right?
Now, that said, someone in the comments actually did respond to this and say, and quoting me, we're all 1,283 players this weekend on the Cobalt Esmir involved in a battle, and they say the answer is very simply yes. This only happened because a very famous gaming YouTuber called the Spiffing Brit decided to see how well PlanetSide 2 would do with that many people. Lo and behold, laggy but well. This was a planned event. Everyone was involved in the fight. So I'm maybe willing to give it that much credit. But yeah, I agree that you can't just declare a world record without some sort of verification.
It is cool, though, Q. I mean, the game is old. We've been talking about a potential PlanetSide 3 for a while. We were a little worried about PlanetSide 2 when PlanetSide Arena just, did whatever it did. I think the best way to describe that is crash and burn. It is kind of neat seeing, hey, had they had Guinness there, that might be a new world record in the video games book. That's kind of neat for a game as old as PS2, I think.
Yeah, well, somebody else in the comments noted that, the stay-at-home thing might have a little bit to do with it. And I'm sitting here kind of wondering now, if we just, trolled through all the older games just to see how, how much their player count has increased with people just stuck bored at home, needing something to do and just digging through old games to kind of dick around in.
Jason's been having a field day watching Steam charts on some titles.
Well, not even Steam charts. I've just been seeing announcements that like Steam has, so many more players now, and like 25 million or whatever online at once. So that just in and of itself is doing that, just for that.
So that's kind of neat, unique news. On the other piece of neat, or possibly could be neat news when it comes to free-to-play, we do have Valve getting ready for Artifact 2.0. Now, we did talk about this briefly on a few casts ago, probably like a month or two ago, when we got word that they were revamping, and we brought it in here, kind of asking the question, does it make sense for the revamp to go free-to-play? Now, Jason, you've always said, historically, looking at the way the game is built and the acquisition of cards and the ability to trade cards or sell cards, things like that, and they've said, too, that the economy of the game is a big reason why they could never just straight flat out convert it to free to play. They would have to overhaul the entire monetization card acquisition system to make it free to play. Well, we did get some details about what they're looking at for 2.0. Artifact Beta 2.0. In fact, in what you get access to right off the bat, a hero draft, making the game easier to pick up. But monetization is getting a look there, Jason.
Yeah, a big thing that they said is we aren't selling cards. The question was actually, where was it? Okay, can I buy cards or packs in the beta? We have some ideas of what we like to sell, but none of them are cards and packs. Now, whether that applies to the full game after they come out of their second beta or whatever the heck it's called. How do you go into beta? If you're launched, you go back to beta. I guess it happens, but yeah, they are definitely looking at doing some different things in terms of how they sell things in there. So I don't know if that means they're going to go free to play full on. You just earn, because you have to be able to buy something. So you have to make money somehow. So I
don't know. Other games seem to be doing it well, but they also have the ability to buy cards.
Buy cards and packs, yeah.
Right. I mean, even if you look at Hearthstone, you have the card backs and the skins and the field, the map that you're playing on, stuff like that. In Magic the Gathering Arena, you have sleeves. They don't sell card backs, they sell sleeves. Which is funny when you think about it. Got to protect those digital cards, put them in sleeves. Double sleeve them, baby. Double sleeve them.
Dude, have I ever told you about this one guy? His name, and I remember his name. His name was Kent Regis. He used to play in our Star Wars and Star Trek. Maybe I think just Star Trek when I was with Decipher. He put his cards in the thick, plastic, the things you preserve them in. If not necessarily preserve them.
Oh,
but
the hard shells.
Not
these.
Yeah, so basically his deck. Yeah, let me see. Hang on. Yeah, like those. That's what he put his cards in, and had the entire deck full of them.
Oh,
yes. Well, no, not like those. No, thicker than these. Thicker than these. But yeah, basically about as thick as my cell phone. That was a typical card. So his decks of 60 cards were like this thick.
Yeah, it'd be like that tall.
Yes, I'm serious. That guy, Kent Regis. I can remember his name 20 years later. Kent, if you're watching, drop a note.
That would be a pain in the ass to shuffle.
Yes, it was a pain in the ass to shuffle, but he did it anyway.
Click, 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 click.
Oh my God.
So Q, what do you think here? I mean, obviously they could do skins or card backs and emotes and stuff like that. Does that mean that we could see Artifact 2.0 be free to play? Or does that mean that they're going to do something, in your opinion, where they maybe, spend $20, you get the 5 starter decks or whatever, and then all other card acquisition is done in game. So it is buy to play, right? You give them $20, you get the game and 3 or 4 starter decks, and away you go, acquiring the rest of the cards through gameplay. Or do we see a free-to-play with the option to buy a couple starter decks, and then everything else is acquired through gameplay? What do you think?
That's really a difficult call. I mean, all I was thinking about initially was, hey, just buy cosmetics, because that's, the thing that would make me happiest, if just
like emotes
just
and
buy the
shit
cosmetics.
Like that.
Yeah, just the stuff, because it's not like we won't turn around and spend a crap ton of money on stuff that just makes our gameplay experience prettier.
Yeah.
But Now that you mention it, it seems like if they just want to really make a lot of money up front, the buy to play way is the way for them to do it, and then just make everything else okay. Now you own the game, it's all good. And then of course later on, when they're wanting to get more people in, they do those stupid free to play, weekend things or whatever to try to drag more people in. But yeah, now that you mention it, the buy to play seems most likely.
What's your take on it, Jason?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be buy to play with the ability to earn cards through gameplay mostly.
I personally almost think it has to be free to play. And I'm going to give you my logic here. If they go to Artifact 2.0 with some type of purchase, presumably anybody who purchased Artifact 1 needs to be given that purchase. There should not be those players need to rebuy in, because that would just be stupid. So if your idea is to sell the packs, or let's say a starter deck bundle, which is actually you just buying the game, okay? If they do that, all the Artifact 1.0 players are presumably going to get that for free anyway. So you don't make any money off of your current player base, as small as it is right now, but let's count everybody that's ever bought that potentially coming back, right? You're not making any money on that. And because of the negative press and the way the game has performed, there is zero reason for me, even being into card games in general, not liking what they did with Artifact, so I did not buy it. There is no reason for me to give that game a second chance and shell out $15, $20, $30 to try it. I didn't like what they did the first time around. A lot of people didn't, so they have to redo it anyway. They're not going to make any money off of the Artifact 1.0 people that did buy it anyway. I think you have to make it free to potentially get somebody, because I'm the one you want in the game. I'm the one you want. The one that didn't like it, balked at it, didn't buy it, isn't going to try it. And you're not going to make money off the me that bought that game anyway, because you're going to give me 2.0 for free. You need me to come and check it out, and then hopefully buy a starter deck, buy emotes or skins or whatever. I think it almost has to be free to play. It's got such a bad taste for people that bought it, or people like me that said, I'm not going to buy it because it's already leaving a bad taste. I'm not interested in 2.0 at all unless it's free. I'll give it a whirl if it's free. If it's not, I don't care how good it is. I have 9 other card games I can go play right now that didn't burn me already.
I see your reasoning, but I still think you're wrong.
But that was succinct.
I think Valve isn't smart enough to do that. I think they're too dug into their. If they took that long to figure out what they were doing with the game, I think they're gonna still be stupid.
We'll see. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Artifact 2.0, free or not? We'll head over and start the weekly bombs. Go ahead, Q. You're up.
I'm going to give it the bomb to the Spark guys, which is our soon-to-be actual real internet service, because they came out this week and the line is actually run to like right outside the window here.
Nice.
So very soon I should have real people internet again, and it will be glorious.
Go ahead, Jason.
I'm going to give an A-bomb to all the prescription drugs that are masquerading as video games these days. We talked about Elyon. If you have an erection lasting more than 4 hours, please stop taking Elyon. We talked about Valorant. If you are pregnant, nursing, or may become pregnant, do not take Valorant. And another game we had this week was called Zandata, which, the side effects of Zandata may include headaches, sore throat, anal bleeding, and death. It's like, stop with these idiotic names, guys. Just no, they're terrible.
There's something wrong with you, my friend.
Yeah, because I'm taking Zandata. I've got, symptoms.
You got some anal seepage going on there.
I don't like to talk about it in public, though.
I'm going to give a dub bomb. Phantasy Star Online 2 finally awarded their closed beta rewards. I got my mag skin. I am now rocking my Dreamcast mag, and it is glorious. From the viewers, Ninja Pandas, great name. I'm giving an A-bomb to Blizzard for not getting Call of Duty fixed on PC, because as of this message, downloading the whole game again just to update it. I had that happen once too. It was before they launched the free-to-play thing. It was, a month or so after release, where an update made me reinstall the entire fucking game too. What a pain in the ass. Go ahead, Jason.
I finally uninstalled Warzone this week.
Oh, did you?
I decided I'm not going to bother. But Japan Freak says, A-bomb for Quinlan's camera. She's not green anymore. Is this even her? I got so used to seeing her green. It's weird to have an entire episode with no problems. I'm the green one this week.
You are. You are. Go ahead, Q.
I don't even know if it's me anymore. So, Sander Skate. Yeah, I don't know. That last sentiment, though, 550 games in my Steam library plus tons on GOG. Still nothing to play.
Yep,
LOL.
the way we signed
It's
off
true,
last week.
it's true.
You go away.
Stop
Stop watching our cast and go play some of those damn games.
I'm just going to take a guess at this. It's Yid Yip Leva, maybe? YDYP Leva. Yid Yip Leva? If that's not, that's how I'm saying it from now on. I like saying it. Yid Yip. Yid Yip. Endless Legend on my store page shows only 75% off, perhaps because I already own it. Probably. Now want the surprise announcement of Sega. Here is the PC client for Phantasy Star Online 2 to stay safe at home. So here's the weird thing. I saw like all these other sites putting up articles yesterday. Sega confirms that PC version is still coming. I don't even know. We did not cover that because it was not news. They have been saying on Twitter for months in replies to people that, see, where's PC? PC is still coming this spring. It's coming this spring. It's coming this spring. Talked about it on the first look. I mean, none of it was, they confirmed it. No, they just, I think it was Mop saw one tweet replying to somebody saying it's still coming this spring for PC. And it is. So sometime in the next month and a half, we'll have it on PC. But it wasn't news. It's not like they hadn't said boo about it and then all of a sudden we're confirming. So, I mean, that's how you know. I will look for every reason I can to cover PSO2, and even I skipped that piece.
It's true. He just throws things at me.
If we should be skeptical of any game actually coming out, it should be PSO2 after 9 years or whatever.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Jason.
All right. Breckner Catalyst says, I don't know, Endless Legend is not free on Steam for me. Free to play for the next 2 days, yeah, but that doesn't mean you own it. And I'm not downloading all that for the chance that I can keep some of it. Not really sure I like the game anyway.
Yeah, well, you can't do it anymore, but Breckner, to your point there, we did email them in response to that offer before we covered it saying, once I download it, is it free and I own it forever, or is it just for these few days? And the base game and that one DLC were yours. So if you had downloaded it, you would have owned those two, at least according to their email reply to us before we covered it. Go ahead, Q.
Turin Horse, playing Daybreak games is like punching puppies or supporting cancer. There's the fullborn every minute. Jason, I think that might be a little harsh, but
Jason, is this like a relative of yours? I mean,
could be.
Student Yoe says, several permanent free games on Steam this week. Very good. Let's grab them all. Yeah, if you're looking for a roundup, there's even more games that are doing freebies. Check out mmobomb.com. Question of the week.
Let's grab them all and then say there's nothing to play.
There's nothing to play. Question
is this the Pokemon game collection now?
Question of the week last week. What is the weirdest thing you've done, gaming related or not, to kill some time while being home? None of you chimed in except for Raggerty, who says, question of the week, and I love this answer. I used to collect the Star Wars trading card game cards that came out after episode 1. As I was going through them, I realized I never really played the game. I just collected them. So after some convincing, I got my sister to play with me. It was pretty fun. So there you go.
Now, which one was that? Was that the Wizards of the Coast one that came out around Attack of the Clones, or was it the Cypher one, Young Jedi, which came out right around episode 1?
Oh, look at you!
See, that's the question.
Busting out your TCG knowledge. That's when you were in the biz, wasn't it?
Because one of the cards in Young Jedi is actually named after a Star Wars RPG character that I ran with the creators of the game.
Oh,
so there we go.
Look at you name dropping in useless card games.
Yep.
Question of the week. This week, I warned you at the beginning of the show to keep an eye or get your mind wrapped around it. Which are you looking more forward to? assuming that both actually make it to your region at some point. Blue Protocol or Ascent, which is not spelled right.
No, it's not even. Yeah, it's right. It's not spelled right. It's there. I fixed it for you.
He's fixing it. Elyon, Ascent Infinite Realm. Which are you looking more forward to? Blue Protocol or Elyon, Ascent Infinite Realm? And why? Let us know in the comments below. While you're there, give us your weekly bomb. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming, in the world in general, or just if you have a question for the panel, go ahead and throw it in there. Obviously, we hope everybody is staying safe and healthy in these weird times. But until next week, Q, where can everybody find you?
Hanging out on Twitter. In fact, I'm going to be there in a few minutes just because the fish custard thing is going on now.
Jason.
The fish custard thing?
It's the Doctor Who thing.
Okay. I'll be on Twitter at Winter Informal, not tweeting about fish custard, but tweeting about Cheers. And also on Twitch, twitch.tv/JasonWinter. I'm still just upset about this whole Cheers rant I did last night, but anyway.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally on Twitter right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb so we can tweet at you all the latest news, articles, giveaways, first look videos, free-to-play cast, free-to-play weekly, and so much more. Until next week, stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you out on the servers.